November 19th, 2025, 60 miles off the Scottish coast. A Royal Air Force pilot is flying a $250 million P-8A Poseidon through frozen darkness when his entire world explodes into electric green. The laser hits without warning. 1 second, he's tracking a Russian vessel on radar. The next, searing light floods the cockpit, turning instrument panels into burning halos. His vision whites out completely. Retinal afterburn. Spatial disorientation. The kind of blindness that sends pilots into the ocean in seconds. Down on the deck of the Russian spy ship Yantar, some weapons operator probably thinks he just won. One pull of the trigger. One American-made aircraft forced to retreat. Mission accomplished. Another day of pushing boundaries without consequences. He's probably smirking right now, watching the British plane climb away into the night. But that operator just made a catastrophic miscalculation. That laser didn't scare anyone off. It was a distress flare in the dark, screaming coordinates to every hunter in a 100-mile radius. And what Moscow doesn't know yet is simple. The real predators weren't in the sky. They were waiting 400 feet below the surface, with torpedo tubes already flooded and firing solutions locked. That Russian crew thought they were playing cat and mouse. They just became the mouse. And the trap snapped shut the moment that laser beam fired. Look at the map. The Yantar sits here 45 nautical miles from Scotland's northern coast. This exact patch of ocean isn't just international waters. It's the central nervous system of the Western world. Running beneath these waves are fiber optic cables with names like Shefa 2, Cantat 3, and TAT 14. Boring names for the most critical infrastructure on Earth. Here's what most people don't understand. 99% of intercontinental data travels through undersea cables, not satellites. Every bank transfer between New York and London, every email from your boss, every video call with family. Overseas. All of it flows through hair-thin glass threads lying on the seabed exactly where the Yantar is circling. If Russia cuts these cables, credit card networks collapse, stock markets freeze, supply chains disintegrate overnight, your Amazon order doesn't just get delayed, the entire digital economy flatlines. This isn't paranoia, it's architecture. The North Atlantic Cable Network is the aorta of global commerce, and Russia has been mapping it for years. Now, about the Yantar. Project 2-2010 Auxiliary General Oceanographic Research Vessel. That's the official designation. Sounds harmless, right? Oceanographic research. Like they're out here studying jellyfish. But NATO intelligence knows better. The Yantar belongs to GUJI, Russia's main directorate of deep-sea research. Translation: Underwater Espionage and Sabotage. This ship carries twin deep-diving submersibles, the AS-37 and AS-39, both rated for 6,000-meter depths. Their mechanical arms aren't designed for collecting coral, samples. They're built to cut cables and attach surveillance devices to infrastructure Russia has no legal right to touch. Legally, the Yantar can operate here. International waters means exactly that. But legality and intent are two different things. And that night, Britain had evidence that Russia's intent was anything but peaceful. The Yantar has a history, and it reads like a crime spree. In September 2022, this exact vessel was photographed loitering near the Nord Stream pipeline route just weeks before those pipelines mysteriously exploded. Throughout 2023 and 2024, maritime surveillance tracked it prowling near critical cable junctions in the North Atlantic. Twice this year alone, the Yantar entered British territorial approaches, each time shutting off identification systems and conducting slow-speed bottom surveys. Russia claims scientific research. The evidence suggests reconnaissance for future attacks. And its behavior that night confirmed every suspicion, starting in November 15th. The Yantar switched off its automatic identification system. For anyone unfamiliar, AIS is the maritime equivalent of a license plate, a radio beacon broadcasting your ship's identity, position, and heading to prevent collisions. Every civilian vessel is legally required to keep it active. Shutting it off sends one message: I'm hiding something. But the real tell was the movement pattern. With AIS dark, the Yantar crept forward at 3 to 5 knots, executing a tight zigzag grid across a 12-square-mile area. In naval intelligence terminology, that's called a lawnmower pattern. It has one purpose: systematic seabed mapping using side-scan sonar. Russia was building a targeting database, cataloging exact cable locations for future sabotage. Moscow thought darkness and radio silence made them invisible. They were wrong. For the RAF's P-8A Poseidon, hunting ships is what the aircraft was designed for. The P-8 doesn't need AIS transponders. Its ANAPY-10 radar detects metal hulls and wave disturbances regardless of electronic silence. At 20,000 feet, the British crew locked onto the Yantar's radar signature within minutes. Infrared sensors confirmed warm exhaust plumes. Synthetic aperture imaging revealed unusual water disturbance, the telltale sign of a submarine operating near the surface. The P-8 descended for visual confirmation. That's when the Russians panicked. And panic made them do something unforgivable. They aimed their optical dazzler system directly at the cockpit and pulled the trigger. Blinding a military aircraft isn't just aggressive. It's an act of war disguised as self-defense. And it just gave NATO all the justification it needed. The British pilot didn't flee. He executed Protocol Delta III. The exact response drilled for hostile electronic attack. Immediate climb. Switch to backup instruments. And most critically, mark the threat before disengaging. As the P-8 pulled skyward, the tactical officer in back triggered an automated sequence. 4 sonobuoys dropped into the black water, forming a diamond pattern around the Yantar's position. Within seconds, acoustic data uploaded to Link 16, NATO's tactical data network. Think of Link 16 as a military group chat, except instead of messages, it transmits real-time coordinates and threat data to every allied platform within range. Human eyes might be blinded, but the network sees everything. The British crew transmitted the Yantar's exact position and confirmation of hostile laser engagement. That data packet reached dozens of receivers simultaneously, but one platform had been waiting specifically for this moment. You might ask, why was the US Navy positioned there that exact night? Simple. They were already there. Since 2022, American submarines continuously rotate through the Juke Gap, ensuring no Russian vessel operates unobserved. It's not luck. It's strategic positioning. 400 feet below the surface, the USS Indiana, a Virginia-class attack submarine, had been tracking the Yantar for 14 hours. The Russian crew had no idea. Modern submarine warfare isn't about hiding in the ocean. It's about owning the acoustic environment. And the Indiana owned these waters completely. The submarine positioned itself in the Yantar's baffles, the blind zone directly aft where propeller noise drowns out sonar. From there, American operators recorded everything. To the Russians, the ocean was silent. To the Virginia-class crew, the Yantar sounded like a garbage truck rumbling down a quiet street. But Russia's fatal mistake wasn't underwater. It was electronic. To aim that laser accurately, the Yantar activated fire control radar and navigation sensors. That created an electromagnetic signature visible across the entire spectrum. At 35,000 feet, another American P-8A on signals intelligence detected it instantly. The ANALQ-240 system recorded exact frequency, pulse rate, beam width, and power output. The Russians thought firing that laser bought them 15 minutes of safety. In reality, they handed NATO the complete operational blueprint and activated a response Moscow never anticipated. The AS-37 submersible hit the water. On the Yantar's bridge, the captain exhaled. Laser fired, British aircraft retreating, submarine deploying. The captain scanned the horizon. Empty, dark, silent, exactly as planned. Then the Americans played their hand. The US Navy P-8A sent a single radar pulse sweeping across the Yantar's position. Not a weapons lock. Something more unsettling, a deliberate brush across the radar warning receiver. 2 seconds, then gone. In electronic warfare, this is called the tap, like someone whispering, "I see you," in a dark room. The Russian captain recognized the tactic immediately. He chose deception. The Yantar killed every radar and went electronically dark. Simultaneously, the AS-37 released an acoustic decoy that mimicked submarine engine noise. The decoy drifted west while the real submersible turned east and dove deeper. Classic bait and switch. Make the hunter chase the ghost while the real target slips away. Russia gambled that American sonar would chase the louder contact. They bet wrong. The USS Indiana didn't flinch. Sonar technicians on Virginia-class submarines trained for thousands of hours, distinguishing real threats from decoys. They can hear torpedo tube doors opening through thermal layers. A battery-powered decoy sounds nothing like a human-operated submersible with hydraulic systems, life support pumps, and crew breathing compressed air. The Indiana ignored the decoy completely. Instead, the submarine executed a reverse drift, faking one direction while slipping into another. As the Yantar's sonar swept forward, searching for threats, the Indiana repositioned 900 yards directly astern. The Russians were scanning the wrong direction entirely. The Yantar's screens showed nothing. No active sonar, no radar locks, just empty ocean. The captain permitted himself satisfaction. The British ran. The Americans took the bait. The AS-37 was safe. But 900 yards behind them, in the one place Russian sonar couldn't see, an American nuclear attack submarine sat motionless with weapons ready. The Russians thought they were hunters stalking cables in the dark. They forgot the ocean's most important rule. There's always a bigger predator. And it just positioned itself for the kill. The punishment arrived in 3 devastating layers. First was communication severance. The AS-37 submersible needs constant hydroacoustic signals from the mothership to navigate and receive targeting coordinates. From altitude, the American P-8A activated electronic attack protocols. U.S. frequency hopping technology allowed them to flood the exact Russian communication channel with high-intensity electromagnetic noise. Imagine the Russian captain trying to whisper instructions to the sub, and the U.S. puts a megaphone next to his ear and screams. The result? Communication severed on the Yantars. Screens. The submersible's telemetry vanished, replaced by error codes. The AS-37 became blind and deaf, drifting in black water with no position data, no targeting information, no connection to the surface. The sabotage mission was neutralized before it began. While the Russians panicked over lost signal, the U.S. delivered the psychological kill shot. From its position directly astern, the USS Indiana decided to reveal itself. The submarine fired a single active sonar pulse. Ping. One sharp metallic sound that echoed through the hull like a sledgehammer strike. The unmistakable acoustic signature of an American nuclear attack submarine, close enough to put torpedoes in the water and end this encounter in 90 seconds. Every sonar operator on that Russian bridge heard it. Their blood turned cold. The enemy wasn't miles away searching. It was right there, sitting underneath their propeller with weapons ready. The Yantar had been stalked the entire time and never knew it. Simultaneously, the British P-8A, vision recovered, circled back. Searchlights on, radar active, sweeping the Russian ship from above like a spotlight, pinning a burglar against a wall. The message to Moscow was brutally clear. Your submersible is isolated and blind. Your ship is locked from sea and sky. We have you surrounded. Retreat, or we demonstrate what kinetic response looks like. The Russian captain understood immediately. Not a single missile fired, but he'd been checkmated by NATO information dominance. The order came through his backup system, emergency recovery, and withdraw to friendly waters. The hunter had become the prey. The final scene that night was textbook humiliation. On the British P-8 sensors, the crew watched the Yantar frantically haul the AS-37 back onto deck, like thieves caught red-handed. The laser was off, all aggressive systems dark. The ship turned north and limped toward Murmansk like a beaten dog with its tail between its legs. The British and American P-8s flew, wing to wing, escorting the unwanted guest out of UK waters. The USS Indiana followed underwater for another 50 nautical miles, just to drive the point home. Not a single shot fired, no casualties. But make no mistake, this was a devastating Russian defeat. The lesson? Russia brought a 20th century weapon to a 21st century fight. That laser was impressive, cutting-edge technology, precise targeting, plausible deniability. They thought blinding one pilot would win the battle. But the US didn't counter with another laser. We countered with something far more lethal, multi-domain integration. You can blind human eyes, but you cannot hide from the sensor grid. One aircraft went dark, but the entire network kept seeing. The submarine didn't need to surface to threaten. Electronic warfare didn't need missiles to dominate. We proved that in modern naval warfare, whoever controls the information owns the battlefield. This interception didn't just protect fiber optic cables, it sent an unmistakable message to Moscow. The arteries of the Western economy are guarded by the quietest, most dangerous warriors on Earth, and they're always watching. So here's my question to you. After this humiliating failure, do you think Russia will dare return to these waters to cut cables again? And next time, if they bring a nuclear attack submarine instead of a research ship, should NATO just ping a warning? Or is it time to show Moscow what a coordinated torpedo spread actually looks like? Leave your comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for exclusive military analysis from Navy Vector. Bye for now, and see you next time.